Hey, what's up guys? It's Josh with Independence Boost, and I'm back with another video on 9 ways to build and improve your credit fast. Now, before we get into the video, please go ahead and click the button down in the description to join my free masterclass on how to improve your credit, how to build your credit, and how to ultimately get to and achieve your credit goals. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. So the first thing that you want to do when it comes to building and improving your credit report fast is you want to identify the errors that's in your credit report. 80% of credit reports have some type of errors in them, so you want to be able to identify those. And you will first want to start with the personal information section. So you'll want to look at your name, your date of birth, your current address, your previous addresses, your employer, and you want to make sure all that information is being listed correctly, and if it's not, you want to send letters to the bureaus to get that corrected. You'll also want to look for the accounts that are reporting is negative on your report, or even accounts that are reporting is positive. You want to make sure everything is 100% accurate. So you'll look at your balances, you'll look at your open dates, you'll look at the dates. Say if you do have missed late payments on there, you want to make sure across all the bureaus those are being matched up correctly. Now, in the case that they're not being matched up correctly, the first thing that I recommend that you do is going back to the personal information section, and the first letter you want to send out is a letter to the credit bureaus for them to get the most up-to-date information on file for you. So you'll do that just by sending a first-class mail letter, black and white, single-sided, directly to the credit bureaus to get that information updated. Also be sure to include your photo ID, your social, or photocopy of your W-2 and your proof of address for your current address. And then the next thing that you'll want to do is you want to send a investigation letter to the credit bureaus, and in this letter you're not admitting to the negative items. All you're asking is that you want to request an official copy of your credit report because you notice that there might be some things that aren't being listed correctly, and we're putting all the proof of burden on the credit bureaus. So when we do that, what should happen is they should send a letter back saying, hey, this information was updated, it was verified, or it was deleted. Now, in the case that they do send these official credit copies back, you want to go ahead and send a method of verification letter to the credit bureaus. And in this method of verification, especially if there were no deletions and everything came back verified, you want to ask them to verify how they got that information and how they came to the conclusion that the stuff was verified on your credit report. Now, in case they don't respond, you want to send a failure to respond letter to the credit bureaus because they did not abide by your request. They're going against the laws under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Everyone has the right to a 100% accurate report, and if they don't reply to you, then you have the right to send back a response. And when you send that specific response, include all the accounts that you previously challenged and send that certified mail, single-sided, and just make sure that you get your receipts. So then that way, if you have to send another response to the bureaus, then you'll have your proof on your end. And then just one quick trick that I always recommend to do is send a dispute to the CFPB after the first 30 to 45 days after you sent your first round of challenges, and you just want to do that to just try to help expedite the process, just to make sure that the credit bureaus are abiding by your rights. Number 2 is you want to pay all of your bills on time. Now, this may sound simple, but this is what gets a lot of people in trouble, and this is the main thing that I notice when it comes to people's credit reports. The reason that they have negative items is because they did not pay their bills, or they had late payments. Payment history is 35% of your score, so this is the part that you just need to focus on most because it holds the most weight when it comes to your credit report. So what I recommend doing is setting up either automated payments, or I recommend making sure that you're putting reminders, however you want to do that, in a calendar, put reminders on your computer, on your phone, however you stay best organized, because just one 30-day late payment could really hurt your score. And what I always recommend as well is if you know you're going to have a late payment, get in contact with the creditor, the person that's holding that account, because you'd be surprised that they may be able to work with you, or they may be able to push the date back. A lot of people just neglect it and they just let the late payment hit, which hurts your situation because it's a lot harder to get those late payments off more than anything on your credit report. Number 3, you want to reduce your credit utilization. Now, when you go to Google, they're going to say the recommended credit utilization to stay below is 30%, but anyone with a great credit score usually stay 10% or below. That's going to reflect the best on your credit report and give you the biggest boost in terms of your score. So ways to help do that, I would definitely recommend, if you currently have lines of credit, go ahead and get a limit increase from the creditor that's giving you that line of credit. You can do that simply by just calling them and asking them to increase your limit, especially if you've been in good standings with them for a while. And then also as well, I would just make sure to set reminders on your phone to pay off your card in a certain amount of time, so then that way the utilization is reporting correctly. Now, because I say 10% or below, it doesn't mean that you have to stay under that in terms of how much you actually use. That just means that you need to know the dates of when your statement hits and all those different things, so then that way you can pay off that card in time and you have that very little specific amount reporting to your credit report. Number 4, the next thing that you can do is become an authorized user. So this is just a very powerful strategy. So if you know a family member or you have a really good friend that has, say, a credit card, say a Chase Sapphire credit card, and they have a $20,000 limit on there and they have 100% payment history, you can get added on as an authorized user. So I only recommend that you do this if you know they're 100% responsible, if they have proof that they're in good standings. And the reason you want to do that is because once you become an authorized user on that credit card that's in good standings, you'll adopt the utilization and that's going to report positively on your credit report. Now, warning, never get added as an authorized user to someone that's irresponsible. That's pretty self-explanatory, but I've seen it happen and it could wreck your score if you're not paying attention to the actual person's account that you're getting added on for. Number 5, you want to diversify your credit mix. So that could mean adding lines of credit cards, that could mean adding loans, that could mean having student loans reporting, that could mean having a mortgage reporting. You want to mix it up because it just shows to future lenders that you're responsible, you can handle multiple things at once, and they'll be more willing to actually lend you out money in the future when you need it, or give you even great interest rates because they see that you're responsible. Now, the only time that I don't recommend doing this is if it's going to be too much for you to actually stay on top of your payments for these different lines of credit and different stuff like that. So just stay very mindful with that, but it is definitely a good look for you in terms of future use of your credit for whatever you need it for. Next, you want to make sure that you're paying off your debt. And I would always start with any debt that you have that has the highest interest. And you just want to go ahead and make a plan to knock this stuff down. The reason being is because it's self-explanatory, it's hurting you. But you want to handle the high interest debt first, just because that's going to be the toughest thing to pay off. Just because with that high interest, it accumulates and compounds over time. So I would definitely set a plan in place to get that handled, and you'll be happy that you did. Number 7, you want to negotiate with creditors. So say if you have a charge-off account and you owe some money, or say even with a collections. Now, I don't recommend paying off the collections right away. I definitely recommend disputing it first. But if you owe the debt, if it's proof that you owe the debt, I would definitely try to negotiate with them. And the reason you want to do this is because you'd be surprised at how willing they actually are to settle with you. Because, for example, to loan you out that money, they actually have to pay taxes on that. So just to settle with you is even a lot easier for them. And you'd be surprised how many programs there are out there with different creditors. Because a lot of people, they just avoid the debt. They don't even try to settle. But in certain situations, you may be able to even lower your interest rates on that by negotiating. You may even be able to lower the amount of money that you actually owe when you go and negotiate. Now, when you go and negotiate, I would definitely make sure that you have your paperwork, you have them write something up, and have an agreement in place, and make sure to keep track of that agreement. So then that way, just in case they try to do some funny stuff on down the line, you have your proof that they said that they will clean that stuff up once you negotiate that and you get that all taken care of. Next, you want to stay informed when it comes to your credit. How can you know where you want to go if you don't even know where you're at? So I definitely recommend staying on top of your credit report every single month, updating it every single 30 days. If you don't have access to your credit report, I'll provide a link below to Smart Credit. That's what all my clients use. But with that, you're able to update your report every 30 days and track your progress. If you really want to hit your goals, if you really want to get to that point of having better credit, so then that way you can get access to the things that you want with confidence, then I would definitely recommend keeping track of where you're at, so then that way you could set a game plan moving forward. I know it's painful. I know, if you have bad credit, it's tough to look at, but you can't avoid it. It's just like looking at your bank account. You need to look at it so then that way you know that you're not going to overspend. The same thing happens with your credit, so I definitely recommend staying on top of it with some type of credit monitoring. And then lastly, you want to stay consistent. You want to make sure that you're doing everything possible to get to the point of where you want to go. With determination, with consistency, with persistency, with these just principles of just life that relate to anything, you can get to your end goal. You got to know where you're at to know where you're going. You got to set that plan in place. You got to work that plan. You got to ask for help. A lot of people are afraid to ask for help, especially when it comes to credit, because it's such a sensitive topic when we're talking about financials. But I would go to YouTube, you're here on this channel, or find a professional that can help you out, because a lot of the times you can't do everything on your own. You need a little guidance, you need a little coaching, a little mentorship to get you to the end goal that you want to get to and give you that little push. That's the 9 ways that you can build and improve your credit fast. Please leave a thumbs up, comment below, let me know your thoughts, share this with someone that it could help. And then lastly, don't forget to sign up for my free masterclass where I'll be going over how to transform your credit and build up your financial confidence again, so then that way you'll be in a great state for yourself and for your family. See you guys on the next video.